Am I the a-hole for sacrificing my daughter's college fund because her sister just gave birth to her fourth child? My 48 female older daughter 24 female gave birth to her fourth child 6 months ago. She used to work as a dishwasher, but due to health issues stemming from her second child, chronic back pain, and then her third child, after effects of broken tailbone and more chronic pain that made standing and moving around hard, she can no longer work. She tried her best, getting an office temp job, but after about a week the woman supervising her said this isn't working out. She was a very uptight woman who claims just because always took her 3 days max to train everybody else to the data entry work that she can't just be a good person and accommodate slower learners. That woman likely caused her to get a bad reputation at the temp agency and she didn't get hired elsewhere. My daughter's boyfriend 28M works at Walmart. He had much more hours when she was pregnant, but since then his hours have fad and flowed. He said he will take a date in the future to look for jobs, but it's the holidays and he's busy with family. I feel a lot of empathy for my daughter and her boyfriend and wish I could help them out more. I myself am a single mom working for a nursing home where I struggle to get full-time hours, and my ex ran up a lot of debt in both our names and is now living in another country. My younger daughter 17 female has a college fund. The amount in it would be enough to pay a large amount of a 2-year community college tuition given the scholarships, grants she would likely get. She's applied to 4-year universities, with the understanding that she'd be taking out loans and working, so she's deciding between 4 years and community college. The other shoe dropped after my older daughter's landlord found out that they were having her boyfriend's brother and girlfriend living in their 1-bedroom in exchange for them helping with the rent, and they got evicted. My daughter agrees it was wrong to lie to the landlord, and both parents are depressed because her boyfriend got a job offer 1 state away and they would have to move from their support network. They came to me asking for help so they could have more time to find financial stability here. I was torn, but seeing my grandkids, I knew my duty was to care for the most vulnerable in the family, so I will be making calls to liquidate my daughter's college fund, saying yes to understanding the penalties, and told my daughter this. She got very cold, then said, "You always brag about having a good memory. I hope you remember this moment then." She has not spoken to me since. Spent Thanksgiving inquiring with family friends to see if hospitals are keen to hire college students for kitchen or reception or anything. Made some cryptic posts about how she hopes she'd be grateful one day that she won't have the privilege of studying anything outside of something technical because she needs something where she always be able to find a job in. Am I the a-hole for telling my downstairs neighbor that me expressing milk for my premmie baby will be my priority over his sleep? So, my daughter was born over 3 months early. She's doing okay, but she still have periods where she Bradley Daysot's Braddies, where she stops breathing. Oxygen saturation drops in her body and goes bright blue. She does this at least once a day, and because of this, she is still in the ICU with no current projection for when she's coming home. The only thing I can do to help her is to give her cuddles and provide her milk, which means expressing for 20 minutes minimum on each boot every 2 to 3 hours, including overnight. I have also had problems with fleas in my home. They've been awful for everyone in my area this year, so I've torn up all carpets and thrown away my sofa and mattress, so I'm currently sleeping on the floor on a blow-up mattress with my fiance. This means that any noise that I make, no matter how much I try to minimize it, carries downstairs to my neighbor. I express milk overnight, once at 11:30 p.m., 1 a.m. and then at 6:30 a.m. My neighbor downstairs knocked on my door this morning and complained about my 1 a.m. alarm waking him up. I apologized and told him that I can't turn that specific alarm off because it's the expression that impacts my milk flow, and doing that expression will prompt me to produce more milk over the day. I'm already under enough stress that my milk flow has already been impacted. I was producing around 100 milliliters and I'm down to 50 to 70 milliliters. I need the alarms because I cannot miss my expressions. I already feel guilty enough that I'm not producing as much as I was. I explained all this to him, and he still said that it wakes him up and that he can't sleep after it wakes him up. I again apologized and said to him that I can set my alarm between 1 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. and he can choose from between those times. He said I should just turn the alarm off, and I responded that I can't, because I can't afford to sleep through my expressions times. He then said that I should express after 5 a.m., which isn't possible because the hormones that help produce more milk are at their peak at between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. He complained about it waking him up again, and I angrily responded that my daughter is premature. She needs my milk and I will do everything to make sure she's got as much as she needs, including waking you up at 1 a.m. because I need to express. She is my priority, not your sleep. I closed the door in his face. I just spoke to one of my friends and she's telling me that I'm the asshole because my daughter is eating every 3 hours and I'm making just enough milk every time for at least one meal for her. So it won't hurt to not express the 1 a.m. expression, but it honestly is the most important expression for milk production. So, am I the a-hole for not stopping expressing at 1 a.m. even though I know it wakes up my neighbor? Edit. Many people have suggested I put the phone on vibrate, which would be a fantastic solution if it wasn't for the fact that I have slept straight through having injections or having a cannula put in. I was awoken long enough to give permission to have it put in. I'm open to solutions, but putting my phone on vibrate isn't going to work. Edit 2. I gave him noise-canceling earplugs and explained the situation when I first came home from the hospital. We also pulled up the carpets for days before I went into labor, so it's not something that we could control. We have to leave the flea solution to work for 2 weeks and the firm has already been booked to have new flooring put in after that 2 weeks. AITA 3. I've been asked to add this because it gives context to my neighbor's view regarding noise. He apparently needs absolute silence. Noise or vibration doesn't seem to matter. He made a noise complaint when I moved in because I flushed my toilet at night, and then again when my cat jumped down from her cat tree to get food or water at night. I've learned every squeaky floorboard in my home because if I stand on one and the squeak wakes him up, he'll scream and bang on the ceiling. This will be my last edit. I am no longer going to be reading comments here or via TM as there has been some pretty heinous messages sent to me. I get it. Reddit. I'm the asshole, but to have people tell me my daughter should stop breathing and die is unacceptable, and I have reported that specific message and blocked the user. This is quite enough internet for a while. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I'd be telling the court about his sleepy driving incident if he files for divorce? My 44 female husband 47 male has basically declared war on me. We have 3 kids, 10 male, 7 female, 3 female. Our son is a talented tennis player. My husband and I were both college athletes. He almost went professional for baseball, and I used to mentor girls who ended up becoming NFL cheerleaders. My parents never had the money or dedication to support me pursuing what I love. I made the best of it, but wanted it to be different for my son. He gets intensive pre-professional training. Because of that, and the fact that we were building our own dream house, my husband worked a night shift job, a first shift job, and also worked as 4 to 6 hour shifts as event staff during weekends. Meanwhile, I had a receptionist job that was 32 hours a week. My son's tennis sucks up the entire income from my husband's night shift job, plus my income. The rest of the money was needed to build, then maintain our dream house. I thought that contractors had bad insights, so we acted as our own GC. We had a construction loan, but on top of that we had to pour our money into it because things went wrong. Friends told us our only way out was to build something unique enough we could just sell it for high and make some money from it. At that point we started arguing. Apparently HelloFresh, which advertises affordability, isn't affordable. Argued about leasing a Jeep versus Toyota. Then came the instance where my husband was driving home from his day shift. He was feeling tired, yet he decided to start the car. He drove for a while, apparently knew he was tired, and then pulled into the roundabout area of an apartment complex. He dozed off before putting the car in park and ended up hitting the apartment's garage door. He was fined by the apartment, plus a citation for reckless driving, and a fight started after he walked in the door. I said that they've charged people with felonies for that. He could have lost his career. He starts screaming he is woken up and thinks he works so hard all for me. He called me a narcissist and said he thinks I get him to do all this because I feel inferior and to have somebody do all this gives me an extra kick. He then said we needed a trial period apart. We got into an argument yesterday after he said he's thinking of quitting his night shift job and filing for divorce. He insulted our house saying it looked like 5 people from different eras built parts of it and smashed it together. I replied by saying he's not going to get custody. Why tell the judge about him being a reckless driver? And maybe he'd even be denied visitation. He screamed and said even child abusers get visitation, And I replied that the court official wouldn't have to be in a car with them. My husband got calm and said that was the last straw. From now on, I'm no longer important to him. Am I the a-hole for saying things in anger when he's been blaming me? He's the one who decided to get in the car and possibly run over everybody.